Nothing celebrates the human spirit quite like the Olympic Games. There's something so exciting about athletes competing for the gold at the top of their game. The 5 circles have become one of the world's most iconic symbols. Now, with so many celebrated sports moments, gold medals, and the world's best athletes showing us what they can do, what could possibly go wrong? Well, you're about to be surprised. Stay tuned to the end to see all the dirty little secrets that the Olympic Games have hidden so well all these years. The last few years have hit the world hard with the pandemic, but fortunately, there was an event that held the world's attention and kept us all feeling positive. As with all the Olympic Games before, the Tokyo 2020 Games were filled with excitement, as they showcased the human race's endurance, dedication, and commitment. We were unstoppable, and then, just like that, small cracks began to appear in the perfect picture of the Tokyo Olympics. Did you know that the Tokyo Olympics had to be postponed for more than a year because of the pandemic? Talk about a long-awaited time to shine for all athletes. Of course, this was the most challenging Olympics because of all the pandemic regulations that had to be followed. Let's test your Tokyo Olympics general knowledge right away. How many athletes attended the Tokyo Olympics? Is it A, 13,000, B, 8,000, C, 5,000, or D, 11,420? If you think that one of those numbers is surprisingly exact, you'd be right. The answer is D. There were 11,420 athletes at the much-awaited Olympic Games, with more than 4,000 support staff. Someone needs to give those tired feet massages, right? Money makes the world go round, so how much did this international event cost? Well, hold on to your socks, because the Games cost a whopping $20 billion US. Interestingly, this wasn't the most expensive Olympic Games. The most expensive Olympic Games award goes to Sochi in 2014. So how much did these epic days cost? Well, just over $21 billion US. Ka-ching! So why are people talking about it so much now with the Tokyo Games being such a massive success? Money? Check. Drama? Check. Scandals? Check. It turns out that the Olympics not only put smiles on the faces of all who watched, but also lined the pockets of a former Olympic Organizing Committee board member. And we are not talking about small change either, people. On August 17th, Haruyuki Takahashi was arrested for allegedly receiving bribes up to $378,000 from a businessware company called Aoki Holdings Inc. Now, you might be asking yourself what Aoki Holdings Inc. could have gained from this arrangement. Well, only the help of Mr. Takahashi ensured they secured a sponsorship contract. The company would also receive the right to sell official Olympic merchandise. So much for sportsmanship, right? So will Mr. Takahashi be the only one to pay the price? The expression goes, it takes two to tango, but when it comes to committing Olympic scandals to the value of hundreds of thousands of US dollars, it takes a slightly larger team. As a result, the founder of Aoki, Hironori Aoki, was also arrested and will face the same charges. But wait, that's not all. 2 additional Aoki executives were also arrested. These 5 men all worked together to hoax a scheme that they thought would be very lucrative for them, and to be fair, it was, until the authorities stepped in to spoil their fun. Quite the buzzkill when the cops start discussing prison time, no doubt. So, is that where the prosecution manhunt ends? Sadly, no. It seems like the web of betrayal spreads as wide as the Olympic rings. The prosecution will be taking a harsh look into the actions of the organizing committee to see whether it was negligent of them not to see the blatant dealings that were going on right under their noses. Those fellas are probably not enjoying a peaceful night's rest right now. But wait, the madness does not stop there. It seems that along with sportsmanship, the Olympics Games bring out a corruptive side in many big suits involved. So naturally, it's a pretty big deal when a country is selected to host the Olympic Games. Just think of the exposure, sudden flow of tourists, and of course, perhaps most importantly, the bragging rights. So just how far will an Olympic Committee president go to help tip the scale in his country's favor? Well, we don't have to look far because our answer also involves the Tokyo Olympics. Golly, what a time to be alive. Japanese Olympic Committee President Tsukanazu Takeda allegedly made it rain to help Tokyo win the 2020 Olympics Games bid. Because of his bribes, he was immediately dismissed as the Olympic Committee's big man and will face the consequences. Through the years, the Olympics have been an internationally inspiring event, but scandals are not new to this outstanding showcase of athleticism. In fact, the very first Olympic scandal dates back to 1908. Any idea what could possibly have ruffled feathers back then? Picture this. It is the 400-meter men's race. Everything seems to be running smoothly. until frontrunner John Carpenter blocks fellow runner, Englishman Wyndham Halswell. After review, the committee felt it wasn't a fair win and ordered a rerun. Well, that's when the drama started. The runners refused to participate in the rerun. Was it that they all agreed that it had been a hard decision, or were they just tired and wanted to stretch their legs? We'll never know. However, due to this mini-sporty rebellion, Halswell took the win. But what an anticlimactic way to get your gold. So have medals ever been stripped from an athlete? Oh yes, Jim Thorpe was the first athlete to suffer this humiliation after winning gold in the decathlon and the pentathlon in 1912. Why would Jim have lost his gold? Well, it turns out Jim was a professional minor league baseball player in 1910. Apparently, that is no minor thing in the eyes of the Olympic Committee. Interestingly, the committee decided that Jim could have his medal back in 1982. Sadly, he had already been dead for 30 years at that time. But wait, it seems like Jim's wasn't the only case where an athlete's skills were examined by the committee. Between 1920 and 1928, an athlete with superhuman speed graced the games. Appearing to be a real-life version of the Flash, the nickname Flying Fins seemed to suit Paavo Nurmi perfectly. The talented runner racked up an astonishing 9 gold medals. However, the Flying Fins gold wins ended forever in 1932 when the committee claimed that he was no longer a simple amateur. Why would they have decided this? Ka-ching! Money, of course. In 1925, Flying Fins was paid for a tour, and that sadly resulted in him being banned from participating ever again. And what happens when the ultimate cheating plan goes wrong? Boris Onischenko was stripped of his fencing medal in 1976. It turns out Boris had a specially designed wiring system that added points even when he missed his opponents. So it's clear that the committee wasn't on the fence about this one. Sadly, of course, the world of sports isn't without steroid-related scandals. In 1988, Ben Johnson lost his gold after testing positive for steroids. This was after the Canadian sprinter had set a world record in the 100 meters, completing the race in just 9.79 seconds. Because of the substance abuse, Ben had to pack up his running shoes. And yet another disqualified athlete took a punch, or rather delivered a punch. In 1984, Evander Holyfield was disqualified for being too eager to inflict pain on his opponent. After a break was ordered, Evander continued to hit his opponent Kevin Barry. This was seen as a low blow, and Evander had to pack his bags. And would you know it, Olympic scandals have extended past human athletes. In 1932, Bertil Sandstrom won a silver medal for equestrian dressage. Later, however, the committee claimed that he encouraged his horse with illegal clicking methods. As a result, he was demoted to last place. Down, horsey! And now from equestrian drama to group disasters. In 1968, an entire team was disqualified. What would lead a whole team to being disqualified? Illegal blade warming will do the trick. A women's team from East Germany got to experience the walk of shame after a jury member got a whiff of their blades might have been warmed up before the luge race. But now, can you be sure? Well, the Olympic Sherlock Holmes walked up to the starting line and touched the team's runners. No surprise, they were not cold. I bet the team still gets the shivers when they think back to it. So what happens when imposters join the fun? The so-called marathon imposter made world news in 1972 when he jumped onto the track and entered the stadium just before Frank Shorter could grab his gold. But of course, nothing got past American presenter Eric Siegel, who announced on live news that the man was, in fact, not the real deal. The phrase, "It's a fraud, Frank," would become one of the most legendary sport lines of all time. The Olympic Games have the ability to bring people from all over the world together, but sometimes things go very wrong. If you enjoyed staying updated with the newest sports and entertainment news, subscribe to our channel. Until we meet again, may you always get the win.